Any second language can only be learned by the practice, and practice starts by the conversation. Even if you know the rules, that's good, but if not, then even if you make the practice of conversation daily, it will make you a good speaker of any second language. So that is why we have started this conversation session, so that you may have some practice of speaking, no matter if you know the rules or not. Now let me introduce my partner who is always with me. He's also a beginner because he is also learning at the time we make the videos, and he is improving a lot. So let me call him and start our today's conversation.
What is your mother tongue?
My mother tongue is Sindhi.
Do you speak English?
Yes, I do.
How many languages do you speak?
I can speak English, Urdu, Sindhi, and somewhat Arabic.
How much time do you give your English daily?
I normally give my English almost 3 to 4 hours, but it is in my routine now. I speak it at work. I speak sometimes at my home, and when I read, even then I'm speaking, and even with you, sometimes I speak. So it doesn't matter that I do not count the time basically.
What is the most difficult thing about English for you?
I think I cannot memorize the spellings of the words.
These are really complicated.
Yes, sometimes we have a long words, and sometimes there are few words like receive. So I, E, and EI. Sometimes I normally have the confusion in
Yeah,
it.
mostly students also do that.
But it doesn't matter because it's not our language. It's a second language, so we can make mistakes.
Does watching movies improve our English?
In English,
Yeah.
right? Yes, they do. They are very helpful. I personally myself got a lot of knowledge through movies, watching movies. And when we have the movie with the subtitle, it is very easy. I think it becomes very easier for the students to listen, simultaneously see what is happening around.
Which movie do you suggest for our audience?
I can suggest many movies. There are a lot of movies in English. I would suggest Lucy. It's a science fiction movie. It has a great theme and gravity. It tells about the atmosphere and the importance of gravity. But yet, it makes us, helpful. Yet, it is very helpful in improving English.
Which is your favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie is Titanic. I watched it in 1998.
We have seen both together.
Yes, we have seen together, and that was the 33rd. I think I have watched it 33 times. With you, it was the
Oh.
33rd time.
Do other members in your family speak English?
Yes, they do. We have implemented English in our life, and in my family, there are teachers, there are engineers, doctors, and other working persons. So I can tell you the example of my little nephew. He's Rehan, and he's 4 or 5 years old, and he is able to speak in English. I think English is in our blood.
Mostly students are confused. Even I am confused about which accent we have to follow, American or British.
Students are confused. I have seen my students asking about this confusion, and I normally tell them, and there is no difference between American and in British. Only the accent is different. Sometimes the spellings are different. Just like we take the example of few words like glass. If we go for the British accent, we pronounce it as a glass, and if we go for the American, we pronounce it as a glass. And there are some spelling confusions, just like color. COLOR is an American, and COLOUR is British. So I think in grammatical rule there is no difference. Only the dialects and accents slight different. I think we should not be confused about it. It's up to you, whatever you have to follow.
What do you prefer, American or British?
Both of them. Sometimes I use glass, sometimes I use glass.
How to increase vocabulary? That is a really important question for everyone. I think.
Yes, mostly people ask us this question, but I think they are running after the vocabulary every time. They think that if they improve their vocabulary
Yeah,
and
then they will learn.
yes, they will learn and they will be able to speak
Speak, yeah,
English.
even.
But this is not so. Vocabulary is important, but yet it is not that much important that students are focusing on. Only way to increase your vocabulary is reading, 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 reading. The
Ca-
more you read, the more
More we
words you
more
learn.
so. Can we convert English into our own language, native language?
Native language.
Yeah.
Uh, One thing I want to say here that if you do not know your native language perfectly, you cannot learn any second language. Okay, so at first you have the clear concepts and ideas about your own native language. Mostly, I have seen many students who do not know their Urdu, Sindhi, but yet they want to speak English and they are learning English. But I would suggest them at first focus on their own native language so that they have the different variations by their own. But as you asked me the question that we can convert this English into our native language, so it cannot be perfectly converted in our native language because every language has own structure form. So I'm giving you the example of simple example that if we make the sentence in Sindhi or Urdu, we put the subject at first, then object, then verb. But in English, we put subject, then verb, and then object. So it has some slight difference. So it cannot be totally, it cannot be covered in or converted in native language. But the ideas and concepts should be clear in your own native language so that you can transform them into any other second language.
Can English help in our career?
Yes, it is very, very helpful in our career because whenever we go and wherever we go, in the companies, in especially the multinational companies which are uh, grooming now and they are booming
And also over
industries.
the seas.
Yes, over the seas, or even if we go for the foreign countries, there is no language which is the medium except English.
Yeah.
So it will be helpful in your career. And suppose if you go to China, so you do not know Chinese, so you have to speak in English. If you go for Germany, you have to speak in English. So English is the lingua franca, we can say, the mode of communication.
English is a skill, or no, English is not a skill.
It is a language at first, but it can be learned by the skill. Just like we learn computer skills, we learn some technical skills. So this language can be learned in the skill form. So this it can be considered
Is
as
a
a skill.
skill. What is the best way to learn English quickly?
If you use the word quickly, I think it's not applicable because no language can be learned in a rapid form or within a limited period of time. Mostly, you have seen that YouTubers
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
they say what they say.
There is, you can learn English in 30 days, in 2 months,
Yes.
blah blah blah.
So I don't know why they say this, why they deceive people, and why they say I don't know. I'm not talking about them, but I would say the real thing and the fact that if you have learned your native language, it needed time, 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, sir.
Okay, so this is not our mother tongue even. So this is the second language. So it it needs the evolution process. Evolution process always needs some time, so there is no formula, quick formula that I can tell you or I can tell the audience that if you remember or if you follow this rule and within 6 months or 6 weeks you can learn English and you will be fluent in English. So there is no formula. So it needs time. It needs continuous practice as well. And the skills, four skills that we have learned in English. Yes, speaking, reading, writing, and
Listening.
listening. So these four skills can be continuously helpful, and if we follow these four skills regularly, so you can learn by the time. I think 1 year is enough to go for the colloquial language or a spoken language. Otherwise,
It mean
the
it
more
takes
you,
at least 1 year.
at least 1 year to memorize the rules, but it depends how much practice you do.
Yeah, it
If you
depends
are,
on a practice, and it depends on a person.
yes, it depends on the person. As far as I tell you about my examples, I learned the
You
rules.
are the gifted, sir. You
No,
don't
I'm
talk
not.
about yourself,
Everybody is gifted. Everybody has some
but you are
potential.
the sir, a stranger.
No, actually, I have learned a language within 2 months, the grammatical structure. Then I started by my own.
No one can does that.
I don't know why, but everybody can
I
do.
have been learning English for 4 years. Can you imagine 4 years?
No, you are only
But I'm
learning.
still I don't
You are
speak
only
like you.
learning English. Everybody is learning English.
And then
They
what
are
difference
not having.
between learning or
No, they don't have the practice. Actually, I have not only learned English, but I made practice, continuous practice. Every time I speak, even I spoke to myself in front of mirror, in the streets, in my thoughts, and even I wrote whatever came in my mind. I wrote it and just read it.
I
No,
have also done that.
yeah, it doesn't
But
mean that.
even I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes people always complain that there is no partner to speak with. So I didn't have the partner at that time in 1998. You cannot imagine it how tough it was to find a partner who could speak English. So I was the only partner for myself to share my
Yeah,
ideas with my own.
1990. That was really.
And here everything is very easy. You have the internet, so you can also listen. I didn't have anybody who could speak to me, and I could
We are,
listen.
sir, lazy. Yeah. To be honest, we are lazy.
You can say it's up to you.
Yeah.
Laziness is not the problem. It's up to your habit. I had only one person, my uncle, Sir Ejaz, who taught me some grammatical structure in the initial stage. So since 1999, we had a pact that we could there would not be any other language but English, and still we are following. So he was the only person. He is the only person in my native city to speak with in English.
Yeah. Sir, when will I speak like you?
I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to your practice. If you, the more you practice, the more you learn.